I'd like to start out, though, by just laying the groundwork for your exceptional life by having you tell us a little bit about your childhood, your early life in Philadelphia.
Well, the first thing is that I was very anxious to be here, and consequently, I was born in the house before my mother could get to the hospital. So that's the beginning. And this was in Philadelphia, and that's where basically I was raised until high school. And then I went to Wilmington, North Carolina, where my grandparents ran a grocery store, and they were better off than my father at that time because he was having a little problems, and we were on the welfare. And in North Carolina, the grandparents having this grocery store, they were the ones who sold groceries and took care of all of the African American teachers at the school that I attended, which was titled Williston Industrial High School, Wilmington, North Carolina. And in that time, the black high school went to the 11th grade. I never figured that one out. And the white high school in Wilmington went to the 12th grade. I wasn't able, or they never gave any algebra, trigonometry, or all that stuff is Greek to me because I ended up being a musician. My father sent me a saxophone. But I mean, that is a great indignities that the people suffered at that time in the South, in our country.
Yes. So even stepping back a little bit to your parents, today is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, by the way, Jimmy.
I'm not your father.
But you've taught me a lot.
No, but I do have 3 children, and I wondered why they picked Father's Day for this. But anyway, I'm glad to see you are here, and I'm here, so. But 3 children, 5 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren.
Yes, but what about your father? Your father was also musically inclined.
Yeah, my father played clarinet in the Elks Marching Band in Philadelphia when he got it out of the pawn shop because he was working as an auto mechanic to sustain the family, and he would get it out on the weekend and go to the band rehearsal. And my mom sang in the church choir, and they belonged to the Quaker City Elks marching. She belonged to the marching club, and he was in the band. And what they did for the family was to have all the recordings in the house that were called race records at that time.
Right.
Because they were by black artists. So we were privy to hear Duke Ellington, Basie, or, and all of the big bands of the time when I came up. Earl Hines, Jimmy Lunsford, and of course, there were white bands in that particular, like, my father did like Western classical music also.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we, Glenn Miller was popular, and Tommy Dorsey and people like that.
Right, and you mentioned in the book, I Walk with Giants, that in fact you had an early contact with Duke Ellington. Could you tell us a little bit about that moment?
Well, it was a great moment. My mother and father took me to see Duke Ellington at a theater in Philadelphia, and they went up to him and said, "This is our son, and he's going to be a musician." And he touched me on my head. "Oh, hi, Sonny." And I always remember that. In retrospect, when I look back, they had it right that I was going to be a musician, because at my size and all the opportunities coming out of high school in North Carolina, you could be an athlete if you're an African American. But I couldn't have been an athlete, and once I got up on a horse and the horse started galloping, I wasn't going to be no jockey either.
Believe it or not, we've come to that part of the program where it's now the Q&A. It's now your turn. Thanks for your words, Jimmy, as usual. But we have first some Facebook questions, which were digitally submitted.
Good.
And the first one is, in your incredible career, it seems as if you've had the opportunity to play with all of the greats. Is there anyone who was active during your lifetime who you didn't get to play with and wish that you could have?
That's very simple. I wish I could have played with Duke Ellington, master composer of any music, not just American music. They say he wrote thousands of I'm 84 and I wrote 150, and he's talking about a couple thousand compositions.
Incredible, yes.
It's incredible. I don't know anybody who's written that much music in any genre. And
You'll leave it there?
I got one more.
Oh, okay.
Count Basie. I'd have to say Duke for his elegance. That's one of the names, right?
Mm-hmm.
Duke Elegant. And Count Spacey. That's another one of the names in my book. Because Basie played swing, and he had spaces. You know, what is a piece of music paper? Lines and spaces. And Duke was fully aware of spaces. You know, some people play, and they play so much in so many notes, and you can't absorb all of that. They're on and on and on. It's too much. If you watched Milt Jackson play the vibraphone, he would play an idea, boop, bang, and look at you. And let you get it. Absorb what he's played. But people say, you say, wait a minute.